of his cabinet to discuss the strategy ahead. The meeting was attended by Home Minister Amit Shah, Aviation Minister Hardeep Singh Puri and Railways Minister Piyush Goyal. The main agenda of the meeting was to envisage a plan after the lockdown ends on the 3rd of May. It was indicated in the meeting that there could be considerable relaxations across many states. But the Home Ministry has said that restrictions in red zones and other critical areas will continue. The MHA has also announced that the Shramik special trains will be run by states for interstate travel of the stranded people. The government ferried 1,200 migrants from Telangana to Jharkhand in a special train today. Only 54 passengers were allowed in each coach, which has a capacity of 72. Strict social distancing rules were followed on board the train. The coronavirus pandemic has also left several Indians stranded abroad. Around 8 to 10 million Indians who are employed in West Asian and Gulf region are currently stuck with no help. Apart from the scare of being infected, Indians abroad are also uncertain about their employment and financial resources. Despite measures undertaken by other countries to help stranded Indians, the pandemic has continued to cause unprecedented impact on the economic and social well-being of migrant workers. The government of India is also working closely with defence forces and plans to rescue thousands of Indians who are stranded abroad. Naval ships and large rescue mission aircrafts from the Indian Navy and the Air Force are on standby that will soon be pressed into action to bring back the stranded Indians. India carried out its first rescue operation in February, where it evacuated 324 Indians who were stranded in Wuhan, city of China, the original epicenter of this global pandemic. Modi government also evacuated other citizens along with Indian citizens from Japan, Iran and Italy. Till now, close to 3,000 people have been evacuated by India during this pandemic. The collective demand for repatriation of Indians abroad has grown louder with each day, but the plan appears to be a logistical nightmare. We're getting a news alert coming in. The lockdown in India has been extended by 2 weeks beyond the 3rd of May. The Indian government has just made the announcement. For 2 weeks, the lockdown will continue and there will be no relaxation in the red zones across the country. The relaxations will continue in green zones and orange zones. Now remember, the government of India has divided all the districts in the country to 3 zones, the red, orange and green. The red zones continue to be the hotspots and the lockdown measures will continue for another 2 weeks now. The green zones are the districts in India where no coronavirus cases have been reported till now, and lockdown measures will be eased now in these green zones. Joining us on this broadcast is WION's political editor, Kartikeya Sharma. Kartikeya, over to you.
Thank you, Shobit. For the clarity of the matter, the release by the Indian Home Ministry, the Ministry of Home Affairs in India, says that it is extension of lockdown for a further period of 2 weeks with effect from May 4, 2020. Now, it goes on to say that after a comprehensive review and in the view of the lockdown measures, having led to a significant gain in COVID-19 situation in the country, Ministry of Home Affairs India issued an order under the Disaster Management Act 2005 today to further extend the lockdown for a further period of 2 weeks beyond May 4. Now, Ministry of Home Affairs of India also issued new guidelines to regulate different activities in this period based on risk profiling of the districts of the country into the multiple zone, as the WION reported it yesterday. Now, the Ministry of Home Affairs of India also stated that the criteria for identification of districts as red, green, orange zones have been spelled out in detail in the letter dated April 30th. Now, to make it very clear to the viewers, what has happened is that the provision of the lockdown will stay in India, but it will be a sort of a segregated lockdown in the sense since the country has been divided into three parts, which is red, orange, and green. Different rules will apply. It means that the people who are residing in the green zones will have greater degree of economic freedom, greater degree of ability to move around, but those living in the red zones, which are known as hotspots, where the cases continue to come, the lockdown measures, as India has seen, in first 14 days, first 20 days, first 25 days, will remain. So, this comes in the wake of the last extension of lockdown coming to an end in next 72 hours. So in a way, it also tells us two things. One, that the government of India believes that the lockdown has functioned very well and they have been able to reduce the cases. And secondly, they find that they will be able to restore the balance between economic activity and the safety of the people. Because we have seen in Germany, United States of America, Italy, where there have been populist politics and lockdown has been taken off because of popular pressure, people have suffered. So in this context, the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, has stuck to the position which he took 30 days back, that lockdown, social distancing, our ability to test and trace will serve well the people of India.
Absolutely, Karthikeya. The Health Ministry of India has also announced that how the doubling rate of India is well over 11 days now, which means that the number of cases are doubling every 11 days. It was much less earlier. So lockdown measures certainly have helped India in flattening this curve. And the recovery rate in India of patients is also over 25% now. Certainly, lockdown and social distancing measures have helped India contain the spread of this pandemic. It's also important, Karthikeya, that India is also taking measures to restart some sort of economic activity in the green zones that you mentioned.
The government of India has already taken three decisions. The most important decision was taken by government of India today, that special trains will be given clearances and they will be allowed to transfer migrant laborers and students who are stranded all across India. People living in the state of Telangana can go wherever they want to, or the people of different states who have been stranded can move around by special trains which are going to run. Secondly, a special order of Ministry of Home Affairs of the Indian government has been that the goods and delivery trucks should be allowed to ply. That was a very important decision. And third, that the economic activity can resume itself with the norms in place as issued by the Indian Ministry of Health, which is social distancing, will be there. So we have to look at this issue holistically. But I think the bottom line here has been the decision which has been announced by the Chief of the Defense Staff, Bipin Rawat. I think this demonstration of solidarity in which the various arms of our armed forces will do on the 3rd of May is to create a movement out of a crisis whereby people can come and collaborate, because we have to understand it's a nation of 130 crore people. India is unlike United States of America, it's unlike Germany, New Zealand and Italy, where populations are small. India has a big population, and Prime Minister has turned the lockdown into a social campaign which it is not there in any part of the world, where people are collaborating with the state and saying that, well, it is good for us, and let's do it in a way in which the imperatives of the economic development can be balanced with the safety of an average Indian. I think that's where the success of the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi lies.
Right, so there are certain relaxations which are going to come in place in the green and some restrictions, some relaxations also in the orange zones. What about the people in the red zones, Karthikeya, the hotspots? How many red zones are there, and will there be complete lockdown? Will complete lockdown continue in those districts?
Well, the most important thing here is that if we go through the release of the Ministry of Home Affairs, it does make it very, very clear that the lockdown will allow certain activities to take place. But those activities will not be at the price which the state or the people will pay. In the sense that certain things will be allowed, economic activities and social activities will be allowed, but it cannot come at the expense of the health of the society, and that has been maintained by the government of India from the beginning. But yes, the political anticipation, the discourse on social media, the reaction from the Indian opposition will be awaited. But the sort of mandate which the Prime Minister Modi enjoys today with the people, and the sort of consensus he has created by getting an average Indian involved. A lot of people would have said that why did Prime Minister ask people to go to the balcony and clap? But the issue is that the bigger events in history, historically all over the world, can only be successful when you have solidarity on streets, where you have a civil society consensus, and when people cooperate with the state apparatus. These are the issues which cannot be tackled at the level of the state. So I think the sort of initiative he has taken is very, very unique. We have not seen in America. Trump has not been able to evolve consensus. We have seen what happened, United Kingdom. Johnson himself tested positive. The world has witnessed what has happened in Italy and other advanced Western nations. India's journey has been unique, and as of now, we have done far better than others. India needs to do more, Indian Prime Minister needs to do more, but India has certainly done very well as of now.
Absolutely. A quick reminder for all our viewers, there are 130 districts in the country which are classified as red zones. These are hotspots, so there's likely to be no relaxation in these zones. The lockdown measures will continue for the next 2 weeks, as the Ministry of Home Affairs has just announced. 284 districts in the country are orange zones. 319 districts in India are green zones, where we expect some relaxations to come into effect. And Karthikeya, you were mentioning that in a country of 1.3 billion people, India has hardly seen any protests against the lockdown measures that has been in place for more than a month now. 2 weeks more, parts of the country will experience this lockdown as India battles to eliminate the COVID-19.